Everyone talks about prepping, stock up on food, get a generator, protect your home. But what happens when the power doesn't just go out, it gets wiped out permanently? That's what an EMP does. It doesn't flick a switch, it burns the whole system down. Electronics, dead. Batteries, toast. Everything we depend on, gone. But here's what most people miss. Some things still work, and they're not expensive gear or military-grade tools. They're simple, budget items sitting in your home right now, the kind that don't need power and don't care about circuits. In this video, I'll show you 7 cheap things that keep working when an EMP brings everything else to its knees. They're quiet, reliable, and when your tech fails, these are what will keep you moving. And just a quick note, we're not selling fear. This channel's all about real ideas that actually help. If you've got something off-grid that's proven to work, share it in the comments. Let's help each other stay a step ahead. Number 1, pressure cooker. Stovetop, not electric. You probably think of your pressure cooker as nothing more than a tool for speeding up dinner. But in a world where an EMP blackout has taken out the grid, it becomes one of the smartest survival assets in your kitchen, and most people wouldn't even think twice about it. Here's the deal. After an EMP, you're not just losing electricity, you're losing efficiency. Cooking with open flames or improvised stoves becomes a time-consuming, fuel-guzzling chore. Every minute of burn time matters, and that's exactly where the humble stovetop pressure cooker steps in. A pressure cooker uses steam pressure to cook food up to 70% faster than traditional boiling or pan-frying methods. That means less firewood, less propane, and less time exposed to the elements, all critical factors when your resources and safety are on the line. For example, instead of boiling beans for 2 hours, you can have them soft and ready in under 30 minutes using a pressure cooker. Same goes for tough cuts of meat, rice, lentils, you name it. Now here's the part most people miss. This is not about convenience. This is about resource survival. If you have just a few pounds of fuel left, a pressure cooker stretches that energy far further than any pot or pan ever could. That's not a luxury, that's a game changer when the supply chain is frozen and your options are shrinking fast. But not just any pressure cooker will do. The electric ones? Useless. They're toast the moment the power dies. What you want is an old-school, stovetop model, the kind your grandmother probably used. Preferably stainless steel or aluminum, with no digital parts, no electric indicators. Just simple, mechanical pressure and a tight sealing lid. These cost under $30 in most stores or online, and right now they're gathering dust in millions of homes. Here's what you should do today. If you've got a pressure cooker sitting in a cabinet somewhere, pull it out, inspect the gasket and safety valve, and test it on your gas stove or camping burner. If you don't have one, get one. Because when the lights go out and your neighbors are wasting fuel boiling pasta for 45 minutes, you'll be sitting down to a full meal in under 10. And the best part? No one thinks of it as a prepper tool, but after an EMP, it might be one of the smartest things you own. Number 2, manual pasta maker. Let's be honest, when you hear pasta maker, your first thought probably isn't survival. It's more likely something like, oh yeah, that thing I got as a wedding gift and never used. But if an EMP wipes out the grid and cuts off food processing plants, that dusty manual pasta maker might suddenly become one of the most underrated tools in your kitchen. Here's why. In a long-term blackout, processed food disappears fast. Supermarkets empty out, supply trucks stop rolling, and within days, shelves are stripped bare. What's left? Raw ingredients, wheat flour, eggs, maybe some salt if you're lucky. But how do you turn that into actual food consistently, efficiently, and without electricity? Enter the manual pasta maker. It's a hand-cranked machine with 2 simple rollers and a cutting attachment. No motors, no electronics, no batteries, just you, your dough, and a little elbow grease. You feed in a ball of dough, crank the handle, and out comes fresh pasta sheets or noodles. You can make spaghetti, fettuccine, even lasagna, all without using a single watt of power. But here's the part no one talks about. It's not just about making pasta. That machine can also be used to roll out dough for flatbreads, dumpling wrappers, crackers, or even pastry shells. It's a multi-purpose food prep tool that turns raw materials into edible, efficient meals. And when food becomes currency, the ability to process and prepare it quickly will make you a major asset in your household or even your neighborhood. Even more valuable? Manual pasta makers are everywhere. Tucked away in kitchen drawers, collecting dust in thrift shops, forgotten in boxes in the garage. And because they're often seen as gimmicky, you can pick one up used for under $15, sometimes even less. But in a grid-down world where electric mixers, blenders, and food processors are nothing more than paperweights, this little crank-powered machine becomes gold. If you've got one, dust it off. Make a test batch. Get used to the feel of the crank, the pressure, the dough consistency. And if you don't have one, don't wait for the shelves to be empty. Get ahead of the panic. Because after an EMP, when people are desperately figuring out how to turn flour into something edible, you'll already be 5 steps ahead with a plate of hot homemade noodles to prove it. Number 3, stainless steel eel bowl. A stainless steel bowl? Seriously? Yes, and here's why it's one of the most unexpectedly valuable tools you already own for surviving an EMP blackout. It's not flashy, not high-tech, and definitely not marketed as a prepper essential. But once the grid goes down, this common kitchen item turns into a multi-use survival asset, and most people won't realize it until it's too late. Let's break it down. First off, stainless steel is durable, non-reactive, and heat-resistant. That means it can go directly over an open flame or hot coals without melting, warping, or releasing toxins, something your plastic or ceramic dishes definitely can't do. In a grid-down scenario, that makes it a backup cooking pot, water boiler, or even a makeshift baking dish if you're improvising over a campfire or using a rocket stove. Need to purify water? Pour it in your steel bowl and boil it directly. Want to make soup or stew from scavenged ingredients? Same bowl. Mixing dough, marinating meat, or storing leftovers? One tool. Zero electricity. Total utility. But that's just the beginning. Here's where it gets really interesting. A polished stainless steel bowl, especially one with a curved interior, can reflect and focus sunlight. In survival terms, that makes it a solar signaling mirror, a way to attract attention if you need rescue or want to communicate at a distance. You'd be shocked how visible a flash of sunlight from a steel bowl can be, even from miles away. It's not as precise as a real mirror, but in a desperate situation, it's a whole lot better than nothing. And let's not forget food safety. Unlike plastic containers, stainless steel doesn't absorb bacteria or smells, and it's easier to disinfect with hot water, critical in a world where medical care might be days or weeks away. You can eat directly from it, store food in it, or even use it as a clean basin for washing hands or small utensils when hygiene becomes a survival issue. Best of all, it's already in your kitchen. You probably have more than one. No fancy prepper store purchase required. It's cheap, overlooked, and totally EMP-proof because it doesn't rely on anything electrical to begin with. Here's what to do now. Identify your largest stainless steel bowl, clean it, store it somewhere accessible. In a blackout, you don't want to be digging through your cabinets trying to find it while everything else is falling apart. Because when the power's gone and you're living by firelight, that humble steel bowl might end up being one of the most useful tools you've got, and you won't believe how many people will have thrown theirs out, thinking it was useless. Number 4, hose clamp set. You probably have a few of these rattling around in a garage drawer or toolbox, little metal rings with a screw that tightens them around a hose. Most people barely notice them unless they're fixing a leaky pipe or garden line. But in a post-EMP blackout, a simple set of hose clamps could end up holding your entire DIY survival setup together literally. Let's get something straight. After an EMP, infrastructure won't just be offline, it'll be broken. Plumbing could back up, fuel lines may need rerouting, and any system relying on pressure or flow like water, gas, or even makeshift air systems will become fragile. That's when hose clamps become a survivalist's best friend. These clamps are small, cheap, and mechanical, no electronics, no failure points. You can use them to seal off leaking water pipes in an emergency, secure rubber tubing for improvised siphons like drawing fuel from a vehicle or transferring clean water between containers, clamp shut broken hose ends for irrigation if you're trying to keep a survival garden alive, hold together broken gear, even lash tools to sticks or secure tarp grommets in high wind. What makes them gold in a blackout is their reusability. Unlike zip ties or duct tape, hose clamps can be tightened, loosened, and reused over and over without wearing out. That gives them a serious edge in a world where every piece of gear has to last longer than it was designed for. Even better? A full variety pack, different sizes, stainless steel costs less than $10 and will outlast most other survival supplies. Toss them into your toolkit or glove box, and you'll forget about them until you really need them. And when you do, They'll solve problems duct tape can't. Most folks overlook hose clamps because they're not tactical or flashy. You won't see them in your average bug-out bag video. But in a world without Home Depot or Amazon Prime, being able to make a leak-proof connection or secure a failing system could mean the difference between chaos and control. So here's your move. Check your garage. If you've already got a few hose clamps lying around, gather them into one container or pouch so they're ready to use. If you don't, get a cheap set now and stash it somewhere accessible. Because when everything starts falling apart, you'll want something that can hold things together. Number 5, old cast iron clothes. Iron. Remember that heavy, clunky iron your daddy or nanny might have used? The one that doesn't plug into the wall but gets heated over a stove or with burning coals inside? That's the old cast iron clothes iron, and after an EMP blackout, it becomes a shockingly versatile survival tool. Let's start with the obvious. Modern electric irons are dead weight in a grid-down world. But this old-school iron? It was built for a world without electricity. You heat it on an open flame, a wood stove, or with coals, then use it like normal, no wires, no buttons, no digital settings, just raw, controlled heat. Now, you're probably thinking, why would I need to iron clothes after an EMP? Fair point. But here's where the real value kicks in. That solid cast iron base? It holds and radiates heat for a long time, which means this isn't just a clothes iron, it's a portable heat block. You can use it to sterilize cloth or tools by pressing with high heat. Seal plastic bags by applying pressure, great for food storage or waterproofing. Flatten leather or canvas for repairs. Even warm your bed or your boots during freezing nights, just like people did 100 years ago. Plus, in emergency first aid situations, that iron can be used to heat compresses or apply controlled heat for minor wound care, all without using electricity or burning fuel constantly. Here's another trick. Because it's heavy and solid, the old cast iron can double as a blunt tool or emergency weight. Need to pin something down in the wind? Crush nuts or grains? Even defend yourself in a last resort scenario? It's built like a mini anvil. That's utility you can't ignore. The best part? These things are dirt cheap if you know where to look. Flea markets, junk shops, storage sheds, or even the back of your grandparents' house. They're often dismissed as antiques, which means you can grab one for less than $10, sometimes even for free. If you already own one, don't stash it away like it's just decoration. Clean off the rust, give it a light oiling, and store it somewhere accessible. Because when the lights go out for good, and your fancy appliances are nothing but dead weight, this old relic might just be the hottest thing in your house, literally. Number 6, glass oil lamps. If there's one item that screams old-fashioned and gets shoved into a basement or attic, it's the glass oil lamp. Most people keep one around as a decorative piece, maybe something inherited or bought for aesthetics. But when an EMP blackout hits and the power grid collapses, that same lamp becomes one of the most reliable light sources you can own. Why? Because it works completely off-grid. No batteries, no wires, no fragile circuitry, just oil, a wick, and flame. Let's look at what makes these lamps so effective post-EMP. First off, they're EMP-proof by design. There's nothing electronic inside. It's a purely mechanical system, a glass reservoir to hold fuel, a cotton wick to draw it up, and a chimney to protect and amplify the flame. When the lights go out for good, a glass oil lamp gives you steady, reusable light that doesn't depend on solar panels, generators, or battery banks, all of which can be fried by an EMP. Second, the fuel options are versatile. Kerosene is the most common, but these lamps can also run on lamp oil, paraffin oil, or in an emergency, even vegetable oil or animal fat. That's adaptability you won't get from a flashlight that needs a specific lithium-ion battery. And don't underestimate the impact of reliable lighting after dark. In a post-EMP world, when you're relying on candles or the sun's schedule, even a single oil lamp can extend your productivity by hours. You can cook, repair gear, read, or just move safely around your space, all without draining your limited resources. Here's another underrated factor: psychological stability. Light brings calm. It helps maintain routines. It wards off the kind of panic and disorientation that can come when you're plunged into total darkness for days or weeks. And unlike candles, a well-maintained oil lamp gives off brighter, more consistent light, and with far less risk of wax spills or accidental tipping. Maintenance? Minimal. Keep the wick trimmed, the glass clean, and store some extra oil. A single lamp can last decades if taken care of. And here's the kicker: most homes have at least one stashed away somewhere. If you don't, thrift shops, antique stores, and even online marketplaces are loaded with them. Prices range from $10 to $30, and they're worth every cent. So don't wait for the power to go out before you realize its value. Take your oil lamp out, clean the chimney, trim the wick, and keep it ready to go with at least one bottle of fuel nearby. Because when an EMP kills the lights everywhere else, that forgotten lamp on your shelf could be the only thing standing between you and total darkness. Number 7. Ceramic coffee mug. It's the last thing you'd expect to see on a survival list. That ordinary ceramic coffee mug sitting on your kitchen shelf, probably with a crack or a company logo on it. But in a post-EMP world where every item needs to pull its weight, even this overlooked piece of crockery has hidden value far beyond holding your morning caffeine fix. Let's start with the obvious: it's ceramic. That means it's heat-resistant, non-toxic, and safe for food and liquid storage, even under extreme conditions. You can pour boiling water into it without it cracking, and that alone makes it a survival tool. After an EMP wipes out your power, being able to safely boil, store, and consume hot liquids becomes critical, not just for comfort, but for sanitation and health. But that's just the beginning. A ceramic mug can act as a makeshift mini cooker. You can heat up water, soup, broth, or even rehydrate dried meals over a small flame or tea light. It won't melt like plastic, and it holds heat surprisingly well. This becomes especially valuable when fuel is scarce and you're trying to warm just enough for a single serving without wasting resources on a full pot or kettle. Now let's talk about light. Ever heard of a mug lantern? Place a tea light or small candle inside a ceramic mug, then use aluminum foil to create a reflective backing, and you've got a concentrated, directional light source. It's safer than an open flame, won't tip over easily, and can provide focused illumination for reading, cooking, or first aid. It's a small hack, but one that makes a big difference when every lumen counts. There's more. In a pinch, a ceramic mug can double as a measuring tool. Most hold around 250 milliliter or 8 ounce, ideal for rationing. A container for disinfecting water. Pour in boiled water and let it cool before drinking. A signal mirror base. If the interior is glossy and clean, it can reflect light for signaling in emergencies. Even a hand warmer. Just pour in hot water and hold it close during freezing nights. And the best part? You don't need to buy anything. Every home has at least 1 or 2 ceramic mugs, usually collecting dust in the back of the cabinet. They don't take up space, they don't need power, and they're virtually indestructible under normal use. So what should you do? Identify your sturdiest mug: thick walls, solid handle, no cracks. Clean it thoroughly, and store it with your go-to emergency supplies. Better yet, place a candle and a lighter inside it and make a self-contained survival module. Because when the modern world shuts off overnight, even the smallest, most ordinary item like a ceramic mug can become a tool of survival. So now you know some of the most powerful tools for surviving an EMP blackout aren't hidden in military bunkers or high-end prepper kits. They're sitting quietly in your own home. That old pressure cooker? It's your fuel-saving kitchen workhorse, the forgotten manual pasta maker, a mechanical lifeline when processed food vanishes, a simple stainless steel bowl, a survival multi-tool in disguise. The humble hose clamps? The unsung heroes holding your systems together. That antique cast iron clothes iron? Your portable, non-electric heat source? The dusty glass oil lamp? Your best shot at beating the dark and the fear? And even the ordinary ceramic coffee mug? More useful than most gear in a blackout. Every one of these items is cheap, non-electric, and hiding in plain sight. And while the world chases high-tech solutions, you'll already be prepared with tools that actually work when everything else fails. Now here's the part most people miss. Knowing what works is only half the battle. The real power is in being ahead of the panic, before shelves are empty and prices skyrocket. That's why this channel exists, to show you how to think differently, prepare smarter, and stay 10 steps ahead of everyone else. We don't just talk about problems. We give you solutions grounded in logic, tested by time, and backed by real-world use. So if this video opened your eyes to items you already own but never thought of as survival tools, imagine what you'll learn in the next one. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Drop a comment below and tell us, which one of these items surprised you the most? Because this is just the beginning. And when the next crisis hits, whether it's an EMP, a grid failure, or something no one saw coming, you won't be scrambling. You'll be ready.